Yeah. So welcome everyone to our November instructor gathering. It is always nice to see everybody, of course. So we've got just about an hour today to spend together. So we'll go ahead and get started. And we not that, hold on. Let me get to my proper screen here. There we go. Now, I have a new computer, so I apologize. If anything looks bizarre, it's my fault. And I can own all of that. So somebody just let me know. All right. So the agenda, we're going to go through the announcements that hopefully you received through the email. I'll show you the date on that. We're going to talk about an exciting event that's coming up through Bowling Green State University with an avatar exercise. We're going to go over some of the information that was presented at this year's summit at our conference at the zoo, our local conference, and then do a breakout room like we've been doing and talk about our A.L.G.E.E cheer challenge and then go over some of our upcoming events. So feel free as always to reach out if you have any questions as we're going through. So again, hopefully everybody is now getting used to receiving that announcements page, and that announcement page corresponds with these meetings, and it was really intended to shrink these meeting times down so that we don't have to be together for quite as long amount of time. Not that we don't love to, but obviously just for everybody's time's sake. If you happen to not have received it or you have no idea what I'm talking about, go back to your email and check a message from Janet on 10/11 and see if you don't see it there. But it should have had some announcements on it. Again, more just housekeeping things that you can read about yourself instead of us going through during this meeting time. A few more announcements though since that was sent out that I want to share with you and go over right now. And again, a lot of these things come from the debriefing forms. So thank you, as always, for filling out those debriefing forms. Those are looked at, and some of the information that you're seeing here comes from those. First one being time management. Of course, we all have that same shared challenge with this content of getting through everything in the allotted amount of time. Some tips to help make that a little bit more doable is do always review those timing guides with your fellow instructor, because sometimes it's not just about our own, it's not just about us keeping to that time frame. It's that delicate balance of training with a fellow instructor. So make sure you're going over those timing guides prior to whatever timing guide you use, whatever one works best for you. Just make sure you're having that communication ahead of time to help ensure everybody's sticking on time. And that we get out on that oh so valuable time. We get out on time. Another tip, of course, is consider bypassing participant intros, specifically for full in-person classes. And really those in-person classes, when you have full classes, when you're talking about 25 or more people, or even honestly 20 people or more, those introductions can really eat up a lot of time. You may want to consider inviting people to put their introductions in the chat box. You may want to, I know we've had some instructors that invite learners to share a little bit about themselves and what they hope to learn in the emails prior to the class. Just in that 1 week out email, just say, hey, especially if you've got a big class coming up, just say, hey, here's who I am. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you hope to learn. So that's another tip there. Another announcement to just go over is communication with host. Don't forget, always loop in your coordinator. Anytime you have any communication with the host, make sure you are CCing the coordinator and having that conversation specifically before you add or delete any learners. And the reason for this is, of course, they need to keep track on their end who all is in the class, because they're always, they have to match up our roster then at the end with what they have. And that, of course, is the same. It needs to be the same as billing. So just make sure before you add somebody, you send the message to the coordinator. Just say, hey, the host asked me to add Sally Smith. Are you good with that? Okay, great. I'm going to add her then. Don't just add her automatically. Don't just add the person automatically. Always loop that person in. And then any issues that come up, after the class or any issues in general, that's really what that debriefing form is intended to be used for. Any communication that happens with the host really should be kept pretty surface level. Here's the roster. Thanks for a great class. If you have any questions, here's the 2 people that we had to exclude for reason X, Y, or Z. Any questions, please feel free to reach out. Any additional issues that might have come up in class, do include that on the debriefing form, because again, I read those, the coordinators can see those as well, and then we can follow up accordingly. So any questions on any of these so far? Comments? All right. Class pictures. Don't forget. I know some of you are doing this regularly, and please continue to do so. Continue to take those class pictures of your group when the certification is complete, of your group, and send it to. You can attach it to the debriefing form. You can send it to Stacy directly, and here's his email. Just make sure you're including the class dates, the host name, the co-instructor name, and then the number of participants that were there. This has been a great marketing tool for us. We have found that, when he posts this stuff on social media, it gets an increased number of hits. I don't know if that's the right word, but likes, hits, loves, the hearts. I don't know what it is, what the term is, but people like them. They like the pictures. So keep those coming, obviously with permission as your folks allow that. Another announcement is, which hopefully you guys saw this come through from the Trello board, our resource app that Stacy created is now officially a year old, and that's the one for your phone to download. And we've had over 6,000 opens. Again, not sure that that's a technical term, but nonetheless, people have opened that app up 6,000 times in this past year, which is so exciting. So that information is getting out there to the learners. Keep sharing that. We have a slide that you can access on the Trello board. This first one, I actually throw this into my slide deck right after self-care because I go to a break anyways, and I say, hey, here's the QR code. While you're taking your break, go ahead and scan this QR code. You can download the app. And then also big shout out to Ruth for creating the bottom slide, which you can also access on the Trello board. This really walks through for people. What does your phone look like once you scan that QR code? What's it look like if you're downloading from an iPhone? And what's it look like if you're downloading from an Android? Because certainly, all the more help we can get technology wise, the better. But what our ask is of all of you, all of our experts, is this is the time to update that resource list. We have until November 26th. So we're asking if you would pop on the Trello board and put under the tab by November 26th, any new resources that you know of, any resources that are not included on there. We want to put those in there. We want to include those in. So that they can make it for this next year's version. Any questions there on this? Yep. All right. Moving right along. Next we have I want to have Yasmin actually share her secret sauce. For those of you that don't know, Yasmin has been killing it out here getting donations for her classes, really getting some extra perks. And she's going to share with us what she has done and how she's doing it. So Yasmin, are you on here?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you. So I'm not feeling too good this morning, so I kind of don't have my voice, but I'd be happy to share more another time. But basically, in a nutshell, wherever I go, just in daily life, I try to introduce myself to whoever's in charge, the manager, and I'll just tell them I'm an instructor and uh, just like a really quick elevator pitch about what we do. And then I just have an ask if we can collaborate in any way and if they would support us. So most of the time it's been successful, and I would just love to work with other instructors as well and see how we can promote mental health first aid and make the trainings even more exciting for the participants. So, for example, Orange Theory, they just said that they'll give everyone a free 1 week of fitness classes. And then Barnes and Noble, they said they'll give a tote bag of stationery and candles, little things like that for the self-care section. So, yeah, that's kind of it for now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Yasmin. I do hope you
Yeah,
feel better.
thank
Um,
you.
Yeah, and she actually created a little toolkit for us that is on the Trello board. And I'm going to send out the slide deck to everyone so that you can have this, but you can click on the link. The links are all in the slide deck here. It will take you to the Trello board. But what she has on here is what items she has received from the different organizations and also some email templates that you can use when you're reaching out to those organizations. Gina, did you have a question?
Yeah, Yasmin and I talked about, should we create a flyer that you guys can take with you as you're visiting these people? And it will say, here's our tax ID number, here's our da da da, here's what, like it's something really simple that you can hand to that person. Is that, if you guys are interested in getting donations for your classes that you're teaching, would that be helpful? And if so, what would you like to see on this leave behind that you can leave with these business owners? And don't all talk at once, really. Go ahead, Casey.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful to have materials because I think having something tangible would be really great to have. Yeah.
What would you want on there, Casey?
So this is also a nonprofit, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that feels important because organizations can get kickbacks for nonprofits or write tax-free issues. So that feels like that would be important. The purpose, the mission, the local impact to the community, contact information, websites for follow-up. If they wanted to host a class, because that could be an interesting opportunity too.
Yep.
Um, yeah, yeah. So that's initially what comes to my mind.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else have anything else to add? Well, Yasmin, if you don't mind, if you and I can work on something, we will put it on the instructor trailer board in the next couple of weeks, maybe. So
Absolutely. And I saw a quick question, uh, luck with small local businesses. Yes, so even like the large chains, if you talk to the local managers, oftentimes they are really supportive. So like Crumble Cookies, Nothing Bundt Cakes, like I literally just showed them on my phone the website and they handed me like tons of vouchers. So uh yeah, that's what I have to say.
and I saw the logo, Ruth. So yeah, we'll put that on there. Well, thank you for that. All right. Well, we'll work on something and then post the board so you guys can have access if you want to print it and use it yourself. And then we can just update it. If it's not what you're looking for, we can just keep updating until we get it perfect. So thank you.
That's great. Yeah, thank you, Yasmin, so much for sharing that. And it just makes it nice. It's a nice added piece that we can bring to the class. And if it doesn't cost us anything, obviously that's even better. Everybody always likes a little something extra in the day. So that's always very nice. All right, so our next topic that I want to go over is a really exciting collaborative opportunity, I suppose you could say, with Bowling Green State University. They have an entire educational grant, I guess, program for virtual simulations. And they've actually created a virtual simulation to practice algae. And I'm going to show you a video of what that looks like. But they are going to be coming to us to do a class for us, which we're very excited about, December 4th from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And this is open to all instructors and first aiders. So you are invited. And we are hoping that you will be able to attend. And you can, again, practice those algae skills in real time using virtual avatars. Registration link is here on this slide deck, so you can use that. It's also going to be on the Trello board. And Kelsey, I believe, has a flyer that she's going to put in the chat box as well. You can get some more information about it there, but she will show you, or you can pull it from there also. But just to give you an idea about what these virtual simulation classes look like, again, we're going to be together for an hour on December 4th coming up. And we'll go through 3 different scenarios, and we'll have the opportunity to log in with those virtual avatars and actually kind of walk through things. So I want to show you a little example. If all goes,
Hey, can you
all
see and
goes
hear me okay?
I'm going to fast forward this just a bit. What we found in this video, it appears that the gentleman doing the doing the simulation, there's some things obviously, but I think it's true in every case. Like sometimes you watch it and you're like, oh, I'm not sure I would say it that way, or I'm not sure that's a little different than an A.L.G.E.E response. But I think that's what practice is all about too, right? So I'm going to show you just really quickly what this simulation exercise looks like.
I noticed in today's youth group session and in a couple of the past sessions that we've done this month, I've just noticed that it seems like you're a little quieter, a little maybe more reserved than you usually are. And you're usually so full of life and energy and always having a good time. And I wanted to check in with you and just make sure that you're doing okay, make sure that you're feeling comfortable at youth group still. Just to check in and make sure that you still feel good about coming to youth group.
Yeah. Um, I guess when you mention it, uh, I've been feeling kind of down lately.
Oh, well, I'm really sorry to hear that. It's no fun feeling down. Is there anything that I can do to kind of lift your spirits? Is there something going on in youth group that's got you down, or anything that I can help with?
Um, well, it's kind of just like I know I used to feel happier
Mhm.
and like more confident, but now I kind of just feel like I'm not good enough sometimes.
Oh,
So again, as you can see, it's pretty high tech stuff. I apologize if the volume was kind of low on that. I'm still working out the kinks on this new technology. And that's on my end. I'm sure their stuff is fine. That's probably all on my end. But what we're asking for you as instructors is to invite your learners then during your sessions, because again, this is one of those feedback items that we get from learners in evaluations is they really appreciate and really enjoy the opportunities to practice A.L.G.E.E. So this is one of those ways we can extend that invitation to them and say, hey, you know what, we can continue to do this. We are paying actually BGSU to do this. There is a fee involved. So we want to get as many people obviously in this class as we can. So please do invite your learners. You can use that slide that is on the Trello board that Kelsey's putting in the chat box there for us. And any questions, of course, you can always ask. Any questions right now, though, before we move on? All right, pretty cool technology, though. It's pretty neat stuff. Pretty neat way to practice in real time our skills.
I'm
Janice?
sorry, Jan. Yeah, so the December 4th would be free for anyone who wants to participate?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right.
so the collaborative there is a cost, but it's being covered by the collaborative.
Right.
But yeah, free to learners to participate. Yes, looks like we've got Reggie. Looks like you raised your hand. You had a question?
Yes, I was wondering, I know this is a real-time opportunity to practice skills, but will this be recorded?
Great question, Janet. I don't know.
That's a good question. I'm not sure if they're going to record it or not, but we can ask. So
Yeah.
I raised my hand because this is the first time we're going to pilot this, but if it's popular, we can have one of these every other month or every quarter, so we just wanted to try it out quickly just to see if people are interested, but then we could keep scheduling these for people to come and practice A.L.G.E.E if the response is pretty well. And I think you guys are absolutely more than invited to come. We have like 15 people on there so far, and I'd say half of those are instructors because I think people just want to come to see what this is about. So come if you're interested, come and see. And if you want to volunteer to be the guy that talks to the avatar, they're going to go through 4 different scenarios, one being a youth, one being somebody living in a nursing home, one being a colleague at work. So they have different scenarios out there that we can use A.L.G.E.E on. So it's really cool, but I hope a lot of people register, and if they do and the feedback is good, then we'll probably do this again.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It's a neat opportunity to get to see this. So thank you. And again, do share, invite your learners when you are in your classes. We want them to come as well, just to give them that chance to practice additional time. Any other questions or comments on this before we move on? Okay. All right, moving right along. All right. So how many of you, by show of hands, how many of you were at the summit? I know I saw some. Okay, so this year, we were very excited to have 2 separate tracks, one for first aiders and one for instructors. And for those of you that attended, of course, then you got to sit in on Becky Keytron's class. She did a fabulous job of really speaking to the instructors, specifically on these 3 different topics: facilitating learning, managing difficult behaviors, and then some stupid mistakes instructors make. Certainly did a great job delivering those. And she has shared as well her contact information, which is at the bottom here of the slide deck, which again I'll share with you. And she invites anybody to reach out if you have any additional questions. But I do just want to go through with you some of the information that she left us with and some little nuggets, and we're going to have a chance to go over those in in our breakout room today as well. But specifically, first, we'll start with the facilitating learning. Some of the items that we went over and talked about in that under that particular topic. And again, the handout that she shared can be found on the Trello board. So you can click here on the slide deck, where you can go to the Trello board. It's on there. But one of the questions that she asked, how she started this segment, was, what do you demand from a learning experience? What do you as a learner demand from a learning experience? And it was a great kind of opportunity to pause and reflect, as we're thinking about, we're the one delivering, but what is it that we demand from a learning experience? Because certainly then that same is true for our learners, right? I mean, much of that is going to be true for them as well. And it looked at the different type of learning styles that are out there: the dependent learner, the collaborative learner, and the independent learner. And there's actually a self-assessment tool that is included on this handout that you can take and find out what type of learner you are. What is your learner style? And then knowing that information, what are your learning needs? Do you do better in a structured environment? Do you do better with interaction? Do you do better with experimentation, hands-on, self-directed, self-led activities, etc. And then it kind of looks at then what is the trainer's role in all of that? If you're appealing to this particular learning style, what is your, what is our role then as the trainer? Janet, you had a question, or you were going to say something?
Yeah, I just had, did she say, like, is this all split evenly, third, or did she say like one of these is the majority of how people learn, or did she say anything like that? Because I'm just curious.
She didn't say, but I know we have some education experts in here that this was not new material to. Do you guys know? Lisa, I'm looking at you.
On the spot.
Putting you right on the spot.
I've never seen a percentage on. I think it really depends on the group of people that you have. It's going to vary from class to class. And when I think from a teaching perspective, what worked in 2023 didn't work in 2024, kind of a deal, because of different learners. So I think that part of that is just kind of asking and monitoring. When do you have a lot of active participation? Okay, maybe that's what the experience that they need. But doing a quick, that could be part of your introduction, actually, is, how do you learn best?
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Yeah. And again, I think a lot of this, then what are the training behaviors? What can we do then as trainers to help facilitate that learning experience for all those individuals? And obviously what we do know is, we may not have the information in terms of the percentages, but we know that there's a good chance that every one of these categories is going to be represented in the classroom. And mental health first aid was written with this information in mind. Obviously, that's why we see a lot of different, learning modalities included in the curriculum. So it's kind of already naturally there. Was somebody going to add something? And again, I think it does speak to, why we do follow the information that's on that is set forth in the program, because obviously some of those activities and some of those tasks and the way that things are delivered are actually intentional. But I think this was a nice refresher course for some people. This is nice new information for some people. But I thought it was very interesting to take this self-assessment tool also to kind of learn what type of learner am I as an individual. So that handout is on the much more expanded. There's several pages to it, but this gives you a little snapshot of what we covered under facilitating learning. The next was anybody that was there. Would you add anything to that section that you recall? Stood out? All right. So the next topic that we covered was managing difficult behaviors. And of course, this difficult is probably, I don't know if that's always the right word, but nonetheless, that's her terms. The handout for that is on the Trello board. You can also find it here. But one of the things that we looked at is kind of took it that next step is, what is the cause of that challenging behavior? Things that we're identifying as a difficult behavior, such as the person who's heckling, the person who seems bored, the person who's sleeping, right? We looked at as groups then, we worked in groups as the instructors. What's the cause of that? Why is it possible that somebody is in there sleeping in your class? And then what are some strategies we can do to prevent those things from happening? And then what happens if they actually do happen? We can be preventative, right? And then what can we do if it happens in the class? So like, for example, so this was for the socializer one. And we're going to, in our breakout session, actually momentarily, this is what you're going to do in your breakout session. You're going to pick one of these challenging or difficult behaviors that maybe you've seen in a class and work together, in your small groups and our breakout groups, and kind of look at what could potentially be the cause. What are some preventions approaches you can utilize? And then if it does happen in class, how can you combat it or respond to it? Again, the handout that we have on the Trello board kind of walks through each of these and gives some suggestions, which I think is really nice, because these are real things that can end up as barriers to learning in a training for us, right? In one of our mental health first aid trainings. So they're good topics to be refreshed on. Anything anybody would add that attended that section?
I liked the fact that she did give you strategies, not just identifying what the problem was, but also, okay, so what happens if, because we can prevent, but as you said, sometimes it still happens. So I really liked okay, so here are some strategies that might work.
Yeah. Because things are going to come up. I mean, we got 25 adults in a room. Something's going to come up. Something's going to, for 8 hours, something's bound to come up, or 6.5 hours. One of these behaviors is likely to creep up in the class. So, yeah, thank you, Janice. Anybody else?
About the harmonica strategy, what was she talking about?
So for the socializer, what she was referring to is, how do we get people back together after we break up into we do breakout group exercises, and then how do we get everybody back together again? Oftentimes it's hard to get people's attention because they're still talking, they're still socializing. So she uses, during break times, instead of clapping real loud or saying, okay, everybody get back together now, it's time, yelling and, being startling. She actually uses a harmonica. So she has her little tune that she plays, which I thought was pretty cool. And actually, Yasmin had shared, she uses I forget what they're called, a sounding bowl, I think. I think she had shared that tip too. Just something, it's a way to get everybody's attention without a jarring noise.
Yeah, I have a sounding bowl, and I also have a finger piano that you can use a mallet or you can use your fingers that makes a sound that's different than, like you said, like yelling, everybody come back together. So
A harmonica comes from the Pax Good Behavior game. So it's non-traumatizing way to get people's attention.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so it's a little less jarring of an approach. I know Jessica and I went to a conference somewhere. We were someplace and the person was like yelling, like screaming so loud to get everybody back together. I thought, oh my gosh, I hope this is not what I sound like in a training because this is horrible. This is really uncomfortable. As the participant at that point. So yeah, so again, we'll have a chance to do this here momentarily. The next section in that she went over or talked about again that there's fabulous material for is stupid mistakes instructors make, which I appreciated. I think this was great. We had a nice candid conversation. And for those of you that were there, we got to go around and pull little pieces of paper and kind of talk about what some of these might be, and then look at some strategies on how to overcome them and maybe how to manage them. And I did put on the Trello board a spot where you can put your true confessions of things maybe you have done yourself, because I think it's good to, see that, hey, maybe I'm not alone in these things. But I think, she used time management as a suggestion. What's something that you've done, and what does that maybe look like? Well, you didn't do a good job with your breaks. You didn't manage that properly. You were running out of time. You started late, and maybe it has nothing to do with you. Maybe it did have something to do with you. Going off on too many tangents. Again, and then think about what can we do to combat some of those and respond to those. Anything anybody would add that attended that section? Or any true confession time anybody wants to make right now?
Oh, I'll do a true confession.
Thank you.
It was on a virtual class, and I was not paying attention to pronouns, and I called someone. I looked at the name and not the pronoun, and I referenced. I was wrong, and I didn't really. I thought, oh, how do I acknowledge that? Well, I just sent her a private message and said, I'm 64 years old. I'm new at this pronoun thing and I'm getting better at it. And I apologize for not recognizing you. And, please forgive me and consider yourself part of my learning experience. And she sent me a text back and said, thank you so much. So sometimes when you just own it, that's what people need. And that's the authenticness and the transparency of the work that we do, I think.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing that.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah, feel free. My true confession is posted on there, so feel free to read that for your enjoyment. So again, what we're going to do then is we're going to break out into breakout rooms, and I want you to look at. You can pick whichever of these problematic behaviors or difficult behaviors that you have seen in a class, and look at, as in your group, what's the cause. You're going to pick one person in your group that's going to be the scribe, in typical mental health first aid class form, right? One person gets to be the scribe. What is the cause of that particular behavior? What are some prevention strategies that we can do as instructors? And then what do we do if it does happen in class? So I think Janet's going to put us in breakout rooms, and maybe we'll do let's do like 8 minutes. So it's 12:35. So let's come back. Well, let's do 10 minutes. I think we have enough time for 10. Let's do 12:45. We'll come back at 12:45. And we'll talk about it. Any questions on what we're doing? All right, so we will see everybody shortly then.
I thought it put us in a room, but let me have you, let's see.
I can go.
Can you just join one of the rooms?
Yeah, it looks like it's giving me the chance to join. I'll go into, let me see here, room 1.
6 only has 3 people in there, but it has 3 of our staff.
Okay.
And then room 4 has the Reedy Eye meeting notes, so we can both go to room 4. Of we won.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people dropped out when we did the breakout.
Oh.
We had 30, and now we're down to 24.
Yeah. Geez. Well, yeah, I'll go into room 4.
Okay. I'll go
Okay.
in. Hmm.
So I'm
Well,
really
that's
not.
great. Oh, that's what that is, recording. Okay. Well, that's fabulous.
Yeah. I love your suggestion about the bowl. I have one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use that. Because I'm really I think people get enough of the traditional Zoom settings that are not supporting them or us. So anything I hear that I can use to make that not so non-traditional,
Mm-hmm.
make it more fun and supportive of our
Yeah.
participants.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I want a chime, but I haven't quite
Oh,
found one that's portable yet. Most
okay.
of them are like,
Okay.
I was like, no, I don't want that. But
Okay.
yeah, it worked great. Everybody
I'm
like,
going to use that. I'm going
perks up.
to use that. I am. And I think I've gotten great feedback because I'm staying with the fidelity of the training and recognizing we've gone through some challenging times.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we enhance it from a very respecting everyone culturally? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I love that. I love
Yeah. Yeah.
I know we're supposed to talk about the difficult person. My biggest challenge right now is I'm sticking to you have to be on screen and you can't be doing other things, you know?
Yeah.
And so I've had I recently I had a young man playing video games.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
While he's
Supposed to be paying attention.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I can see him looking. I'm here, and he's playing the video
He's
game.
not even trying, huh?
He's not even. And so I say it at the beginning.
Yeah.
You have to be on screen. It's not. I said I love that they have this requirement because if you're going out to do CPR, you want to make sure you have everything you're supposed to have in your knowledge, your knowledge box. So the same holds true to mental health first aid. So I said, I'm going to tell you now, if you are not on your screen the way the curriculum has set up for you to be, I'm not giving you a certificate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So later on break, I mentioned it again. He's off screen. He's playing the video game. So I started taking pictures and I videoed him when the other trainer was training. And when the training was, he was on there you could see the light shining on his face. So when the training was over, I put in the note, and when I turned the attendance in, I let them know, and he complained, and the coordinator said they had video and pictures of you while you're playing videos, and he dropped it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a good prevention strategy. Yeah, it's a good prevention strategy to to let them know ahead of time though, too. And I think that the whole laying it out ahead of time about the certification, like this is what's required, this is why,
And Bridget, I haven't seen you in a long time. So good to see
I know.
you.
It's so nice to see you too. It's so nice to see you too. But you're right. I think that was a big problem one, is the cameras. I mean, what do you think? What do you think is a potential cause of not putting your cameras on? Why do you think people aren't turning their cameras on?
Because they don't have to in other trainings.
Yeah.
I think because people have been allowed to do this in other trainings when they get to us and I don't think they understand the seriousness and what all the trainings is involved in taking it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you go to a training and you're getting CEUs and you've been allowed not to be on a screen, you're taking care of your kids. Now I'll say that too. I'll say, you know what? If it's on a Saturday, I say, first of all, I am so grateful for you all being here. I really am. Thank you for taking the time to do this. And I tell about the requirement. And then I say, now you've got dogs, babies, you've got a lot going on today. If you need to take the dog out for a minute. I understand that. You need to check on your child. If they need to step in and wave, we're informal today. This is usually on a Saturday training.
Yeah.
But as this curriculum has been set up, you've got to be on your screen.
Yeah.
I hope I'm appropriate in what I'm sharing and what I've been doing.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, the only thing I would say is the videotaping, of course, we just have to be careful because of like permission. That would be the only thing. I like it though.
But
Honestly,
I didn't know because
I do a
I
lot of
just
screenshots. I can tell you I do a lot of screenshots
so
for
can
sure.
so I can do the screenshotting?
I
But I
mean,
would let him know.
yeah, we probably still need permission to do it, honestly.
Okay.
But hey, we're just trying to cover ourselves, right? But like
And that's what I looked at.
in fairness,
Okay.
I do think it probably becomes a little bit of an issue with the video recording, both of them really, honestly. But it's
Thank
there.
you both.
Yeah,
it's there. The other
Janice,
thing I
thank you
think,
for that guidance because
yeah.
I want to make sure I'm appropriate and I want to make sure also that I am that, like you said, I'm protecting myself. I'm just so excited to see both of you. So you got to excuse me, okay?
I know. It's so nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice to get to talk to everyone.
Yeah, I think the other thing in terms of when we do those reminders, we had a woman who after lunch was at Walmart walking around. She was on screen, so she followed the letter of the law. She was on screen. But I also add the privacy issue and that it's different if you have people like your children at home than for you being in Walmart walking around with your phone in the top
Okay.
basket.
Yeah.
So Pat was the lead on that, and she had, emailed her and, tried to get in contact. The woman never responded. So she again did not entitle her to get a certificate, even
I'm
though she
glad.
was there, there. I know we're allowed to miss 30 minutes. So like in my in-person classes, if somebody comes up to me and says, I have to leave and it's not 30 minutes, then I say, I just want you to know you have to, you could only miss 30 minutes. And this is 2 hours that you're going to be missing. Hopefully they come up at the very beginning because then I say, maybe we can schedule, you can schedule another one because it wouldn't be fair for you to sit here through most of it and then not be able to obtain the certificate. But it just, I mean, even though we send out the time ahead of time, it amazes me how many people say, well, I have a doctor's appointment or a dentist
And
appointment.
I don't get that.
I don't get it. Do you know what time it is? But I
Yeah.
think it's the same thing, like you said before, Tracy, in other workshops, there isn't a timed requirement, as long as they're there for, I don't know, 3/4 of it or something, then they can still get credit. Or like the conventions I go to, they tell you, they wait till the end to give you that secret number.
Yes, I love that.
But if I have to leave, I'm going to leave. I just have to forfeit those CEUs. And I understand that ahead of time. So yeah, it's amazing to me how many people think they can multitask.
And Janice, I had, and Bridget, I had someone on screen when we signed on and they thought
I'm sorry to I'm going to leave the room. She must not have had it timed. Janet's had these set up because we're at time, and I just want to get back to the room. You guys take your time. Okay. So keep talking though.
Thank you. And this woman was at the beauty.
Welcome back, everyone. Slowly trickling in.
Hey, Donna. Hi, Yasmin.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. How you doing?
Hi, Marianne. I'm saying hi to everyone now that I'm back on.
So you get to see everyone.
Yeah, it is.
Kathy, you're amazing. You're a rock star.
Oh,
Yes, she is.
I see a lot more of those in this room than you believe, that you can believe.
Welcome back, everyone. I see all the smoke coming out of all of our heads here from all those great ideas that came out. So does anybody, just in the interest of time, we'll look at one of them, one group, but does anybody want to share their problematic behavior that they talked about in their class, in their group?
Well,
Janice?
I was with a great a couple of very experienced trainers. Hi, everybody. My name is Reggie. I'm one of the new kids on the block here. Hopefully, I'm in sync with everybody. But I'm a part of a mental health first aid family. Jessica's my daughter. Janice is my wife. So yeah, I'm that rockin' Reggie you may have heard from one of them. But anyway, we talked about the group expert, the one who knows.
Timing is everything.
Yes.
He froze, like in a good position, right?
Yes.
He froze well.
That's his position
Does
usually.
anybody
should all do this when he comes back.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was in that group with Reggie, and we talked about a couple different strategies for dealing with that know-it-all, from everything from like standing on the opposite side of the room, trying to get them out of your peripherals. You could just ignore them, to in the classroom, pulling them aside, having a conversation with them about that. Terry was in the group. She recommended that if you suspect that you might have that person, and you can sometimes see that in your roster, right? Like the roster has, sometimes their title. I've usually run into problems with medical doctors a couple of times wanting to tell us that we're wrong, but so you can maybe sometimes plan for that. And when you get to the learning agreement, talk about people dominating conversations and how you might interject. And I often will say, if there's any Hermione Grangers in the room, we will address oversharing if it happens. And that tends to get a chuckle. Thank you, Janice, for eyes on cue. The struggle was sometimes in the online environment. We talked about how you can't just pull somebody aside between segments when you're online. You can send a private chat and hope that they get it. So those can be a little more difficult.
Well, thank you so much for doing that, and for everybody, and again, we have such an incredible group of experts here available to us. So I would ask for all of you that were the assigned the task to be the scribe, if you wouldn't mind, take a few minutes to throw what you guys came up with on the Trello board where it says True Confessions. I think it has like the big triangle on there. Put on there what you guys came up with your or managing difficult behaviors. I think that card, whichever card that is, just so we know, again, we can learn from each other. I got lots of tips from the summit. I mean, I was jotting down all kinds of notes and different ideas, and it's just all those little things that, other people are doing that I can learn from then. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, that would be fabulous, and always greatly appreciated. So thank you for walking through that with us. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is drum roll, please. Oh, wait a minute. My computer is not cooperating here, but keep drum rolling while I get my computer to work. Jessica is going to go over with everyone the A.L.G.E.E cheer. If you have not seen this, this is a fantastically exciting project that she has been working on and the collaborative has been working with. And she's going to talk about that. You can pull this up.
Oh, perfect. Hello, everybody. I will be very quick. However, yes, this is, if you were at the Instructor Summit, or I'm sorry, the summit we had in September, we went over the A.L.G.E.E song, and we have created an A.L.G.E.E challenge. So we went over the chorus and the verses at the summit, and we have on World Mental Health Day, we launched A.L.G.E.E challenge. So as we know, our impact is growing all over Ohio and Kentucky, and expanding. Together, we can amplify this message through the A.L.G.E.E challenge. Our purpose is to bring mental health first aid into more communities, and we can do that by increasing our social presence, by posting it on our page and then tagging our mental health first aid Ohio page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, the first thing I'm going to put is the actual Facebook link in the chat for everybody. So if you click on that link, if you have not already added us or followed us, please do. And then my second link that I'm going to put in is the actual post to the A.L.G.E.E, where you will see Janice Wright, my mom. You will also see Bridget, and you will also see Janet with her sock puppet. Because we're encouraging everybody to put your own spin on the A.L.G.E.E challenge. So has anyone not heard the A.L.G.E.E song before? If not, that's okay. I encourage you to get on here and look at the post, sing along. It's very catchy. You'll find yourself waking up in the morning and singing it. So that's pretty cool. And so what we're going to do, once you follow our Facebook page, you'll see other people's tag videos. Oh, so to challenge, everybody remembers like the ALS challenge and things like that. You want to tag or challenge 2 people to also do the A.L.G.E.E challenge. So as we saw in our last summit, our presence has grown. People are showing they're eager to engage in mental health awareness. So the A.L.G.E.E challenge is a great chance to keep that momentum going. So by sharing these videos, we enforce the commitment, right? And then invite others to learn about A.L.G.E.E, sparking their interest in mental health first aid. So people that might not be familiar with mental health first aid, it's a great opportunity to open that door, 1, and 2, you might even get a referral for a class. So I'm also going to put in the chat our actual link. If you don't have that, please save these links and put them on a document. Also, this will be on Trello as well, but it'll all be in one place for you. Once you get that, open that door for that individual. So you post it on your Facebook page. They message you and say, hey, I've never heard about mental health first aid. Well, let me tell you about it. And then they go, hey, I'm interested in organizing a class. And you want to immediately fill out this form. It'll get right back to us, and then we'll reach out to that person on your behalf. It's a $100 referral bonus fee, and doing this A.L.G.E.E challenge will then ignite what we're trying to do. So we want to harness this growth and energy to make a lasting impact, of course, for A.L.G.E.E, but we want to build a movement beyond that. So one post, one video, we hit one person at a time. So I'm also the last thing I'm going to put in here is a number of ideas that you could do to have a short, right, or a video. Here, let me see. Put that in there. There we go. So I put the link and ideas in the chat for everybody to look at. I'm going to open mine back up as well. So we can do everything from a dance along video. My personal favorite that came up with, of course, these are 2 a.m. thoughts, is does everybody remember the black and white movies with the captions at the bottom? And it almost looks like the rolling film back in the day. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Doing the A.L.G.E.E challenge that way. It's pretty cool. You can also use filters. You can use filters from other platforms and save that video to post. They give you a lot of different ways to do this. So a superhero edition, flashback video. Reggie did the NSYNC. That's one of my favorites growing up. So yes, get your cat or your dog to dance to it. Pets, phenomenal. A+ in my book to do the A.L.G.E.E challenge. First Aid Friends cameo. You know, the holidays are coming up, so put your Santa hat on. You know, you got Mr. and Mrs. Claus doing A.L.G.E.E, you know, YMCA, whatever works. But we want to see everyone participate and post something on Facebook, and then tag 2 people. Do they have to be in the collaborative? No, they can be individuals that you know might have been interested, and now you tag them, and now they're in it.
Yeah, fabulous. So creative.
Yes.
Love that. And then we're going to select from people, whoever posts on the Facebook page, we're going to select somebody to get $50 then too. So there's some incentive as well. We'll make a spin the wheel, and we'll pick somebody to get $50. So Thank you, Jessica, so much for all your work on that. And we're going to, out of just for time's sake, I'm going to show the video that she's referencing at the end here, like right around 1 o'clock. So if you're available, if you have the time, you can stick around and watch the video. I'll show it. So we've got some upcoming dates then, just to be aware of. Again, just to kind of put these in your calendar. December 4th is the Bowling Green State University virtual simulation. So that's from 12 to 1. February 12th is our next instructor gathering from 12 to 1. May 4th, which is Sunday, that is the next national summit in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So do make note of that. And then September 19th of 2025, hard to imagine that we're talking about 2025 here on a Friday, again, is going to be our collaborative summit at the Columbus Zoo. So just if you want to make a note of that. So any question, you guys have any questions right now for us?
Could you give that last date again, please, Bridget, for the next summit?
Absolutely, yes. It is September the 19th. So it's a Friday. And again, everybody's going to get, I will post this slide deck so you guys can all have access to it. So you'll see all these dates as well. Yeah. And then here is actually, there's on this last page too, we won't go over it right now, but there is a highlight video from this year's summit that you can take a look at. But any questions right now?
Yasmin had a good question in the chat. If we record, because we would like to involve individuals that are taking mental health first aid, Jen threw this in the chat as well. If you like to play the song or play a short or encourage individuals to be acclimated to the A.L.G.E.E song, and you record the first aiders in the in-person class, do we need any type of consent form? I believe a verbal consent is fine. Because it's adults, and if we're taking pictures, then video should be okay. But I'll refer that back to Janet and Brittany. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think, as long as they know where it's going, I think everybody should be okay with that.
Good question. Yeah. Anybody else? All right. So again, just kind of want to brag a little bit here about this. These were some of the attendees, although I'm sure we lost probably some people that left without taking the picture, but these were all the attendees from this year's summit at the zoo. So very excited to see, see all of the attendees and that it is growing. So it is 1 o'clock. So you guys are free to go, but as you're heading out, I'm going to go ahead and play that video, the A.L.G.E.E cheer. So you guys can see that. But thank you so much. It's great seeing everybody as usual. And always feel free to reach out for any questions. Oh, let's see here. Hold on. Is it gonna? All right. There we go. Hey, looky there. We know who that is. There we go.
I think did you click that share sound button again, Bridget? Because I can't hear it.
Oh, are you guys not hearing it? Okay, hold on. Sorry about that. Let's go back here. This new computer is there we go, share sound. All right. There we go. We'll go back to music. We're here to help, just follow me. A.L.G.E.E. Step by step, let's all agree. Assessing risk, that's the deal. Listening close, keeping it real, no judgment. We hear your call. In this together, one and all. Assessing risk, that's the deal. Listening close, keeping it real, no judgment. We hear your call. In this together, one and all. We're here to help, just follow me. A.L.G.E.E. Step by step, let's all agree. Give reassurance, calm the mind. We've got your back, just take your time. You've got the tools, you've got the crew. Together we'll make it through. A.L.G.E.E. We're here to help, just follow me. A.L.G.E.E. Step by step, let's all agree.
calm the mind. We've got your back, just take your time. You've got the tools, you've got the crew. Together we'll make it through. Give reassurance, calm the mind. We've got your back, just take your time. You've got the tools, you've got the crew. Together we'll make it through. Encourage help, it's the way to win. Professional step in, let's begin. Encourage self-help, find your strength. Healing hearts go the length. A.L.G.E.E. We're here to help, just follow me. A.L.G.E.E. Step by step, let's all agree. Encourage help, it's the way to win. Professional step in, let's begin. Encourage self-help, find your strength. Healing hearts go the length. A.L.G.E.E. We're here to help, just follow me. A.L.G.E.E. Step by step, let's all agree.
Excellent job on that, Jessica, for all your work on that. And so when you're doing the A.L.G.E.E challenge, you just have to do the chorus. You don't have to do all the verses, but you are certainly more than welcome to also, if you'd like to. So, all right. Well, everybody have a wonderful day, and we will see you at the next instructor gathering. We'll be hanging out for any questions if you have any, of course.